So you can hit the record button when you're ready. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining and taking a little time out of your day to take a look at Aktion Analytics for construction. Just to kind of get a little bit of background for those of you who don't know who we are. Hang on here, let me get my screen squared away. And it's not working, but we'll figure it out here. There we go. Just to let you know, we've been around for a while. Aktion Associates has been around since 1979. We've been in the construction space most of that time, and most of our folks here on our team have been in the construction space for 2-3 decades or more. So very experienced folks we have. We also have several people in our organization that are outside of the construction space. We have three divisions. We have manufacturing, distribution, multi-industry, of course, construction, and then of course most of you guys might know we have our technology group, which is has a network engineers, software engineers, and we have our own data centers, 2 of them, where we provide private cloud hosting for many of our Sage customers. So we've got a lot to offer. This is a quote from one of our great hosted customers, has been a Sage 300 customer for pushing 20 years now, Johnny Green. So we've tried to work hard to provide you guys with a solid platform, good support. We're up to almost 200 employees now and growing continually. And I mentioned we've got 2 data centers. So anyway, just a little background of us. We're covering everywhere in the United States for the most part. As you can see, our roots are in the Midwest, but we've grown in past the Midwest into the East and South and Southwest as well. So the construction industry group, which is my group, we're primarily a Sage partner. And so we've got Sage 100 Contractor, Sage Construction CRE, those formerly known as Master Builder and Timberline, Sage Estimating, and then recently adding in Sage Intact for construction. So if there's anything like that you got to have some further conversations around, we can talk to you about that as well. Just reach out to your account rep. And many independent software vendors, I group these a little bit more by function than the vendor themselves, but just to kind of get you an idea of the functionality that we can provide with some of the independent vendors. And of course, we're going to talk mainly about Aktion Analytics today as a BI tool, but there's mobile time entry, human resources, all kinds of different reporting options available, data mining and alerting, which is what my assistant is, electronic payment applications, both on the payable side, receivable side. That seems to be something that's been a lot of interest given our change in our culture and our country with a more remote workforce. People don't get to go into the office and sign checks, for example. So, and then, making bank deposits from received checks. And if you guys probably have experienced this, our mail service has slowed down significantly. So it's taking weeks to get checks in the mail. So just a better option for everybody. But anyway, cloud-based project management and estimating and document content or imaging, those are all things that, kind of wrap around the core solution. But no more talking about that. Let's focus in on Aktion Analytics. It's a business intelligence tool, but we also kind of call it as decision enablement. It's a web-based platform, so you can access it anywhere, anytime, as long as you have a laptop or a tablet and an internet connection. It'll work on a phone. I just don't recommend it. Phone, there's just not enough real estate on phone. And we'll get into the actual dashboards here in a few minutes, so you can see what they look like, and you kind of understand that phone real estate's just, they're not big enough. But we've built this thing on a tool that has been around for a long time. It's basically a white label BI tool that we use, but we've made the connections into the Sage 300 database We've also made the connections into the Sage 100 database. So I'm going to be showing you the Sage 300 connection and the dashboards. The Sage 100s are real similar as they have similar data. But we've kind of created several role-based dashboards, executives, finance / controller, project manager. That's the one I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time with you guys today, as that seems to be the one that's the most important or the most valuable as far as project managers and field guys being away from the office. But we've also developed some dashboards around the service management module as well. And then, of course, the real estate or property management module. So we've got some dashboards for all those functions available. So let me do a quick screen change, and we'll just get right into the product. I'll kind of walk you through it for a few minutes, show you what everything looks like, and then we'll pause for some question and answer time. Let's get this switched. That screen. We get this out of our way so we don't have any distractions. All right. So what you're looking at is the project manager role dashboard. And what we've done is we've kind of taken input from our years of experience and several customers that, here's what typically project managers are wanting to see and needing to see as they're away from the office with some quick analysis. So when a project manager logs in, there's security built around this so we can control what they can and can't see. Most importantly, we'll let them see just their list of jobs. I've got like 6 jobs here and I can see everything. But we've got just some basic nice KPI or graphical information about their jobs. So you can see where they're at for the contract versus build, estimate to the cost to the commitment. So you can kind of see where all those lay out. We've got some build versus cost, open ARAP, etc. Those are and we can do all kinds of different graphs. We could do bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts, etc. And you'll see a few other those in a few minutes. But also, as I scroll down, we can literally do table type of data. So here's basically, a job summary, one line summary for a job, the estimate, committed cost, remaining to commit, etc. Percent complete calculation down here. So we've got that information available for you. Scroll down just a little bit more. When we've got, some change management information. We can resort that so we can get it in the same orders above. So now you see the same job sequence. But same type of thing, the estimate, approved changes, etc. So you've got a nice snapshot of the jobs that a project manager is dealing with. Again, billing information, so you can see where this contract and billings are. Then down at the bottom, if you're doing labor, managing labor, now we've got some pie charts with some data on labor. So, that's kind of nice. Now, as you can see, typical, web type of format, wherever you see a blue item, that's a drill down. So I can hit the job number, and it'll actually open up a new tab in my sequence. And now what I'm doing is similar data as far as look and feel, but now I'm drilling in on just a job. I'm looking at just this 2003 to 002 job. So same information up here, but now I'm just looking at it on a particular job. But also down here, as I scroll down to the table area, I've broken it down a little bit more detail for that job. Now I'm breaking this thing down into the cost code structure that you have. So this will match up to how you've been doing your cost breakdowns, whether it's a 2-digit division, 3-digit division, however. We've got the summary by division, but then you can hit the plus sign and that'll drill into or open up just now you're looking at the detailed cost codes within that division and what your numbers look like. So we've got that information readily available for you. Scroll down now if you're using the project management module within Sage 300. We've got 2 options for the screens. This one is using the project management module, or frequently called PJ in the Sage world. You can see now what approved contract changes are available. Hit some drill downs, and now you can kind of look at all the detail behind those, what contract line items it associates with, what the contract amount, what the cost is, etc. You scroll down, and you got a little bit more change order analysis down here as far as, you know, your approved commitment change orders and estimate changes. So you can see what your commitment change orders are, what your estimate changes are. So you can kind of see that kind of information. And then you just got some general KPI information about the job down here, total estimates, commitments, etc. You know, how much is remaining to estimate and how much of your commitments remaining as well. So you've got those kind of information. The other thing that's really nice about the Aktion Analytics tool is you have a button on every one of these little these widgets or dash parts, depending on what terminology we use, that says up to the left, up to the right arrow. It says Analyze. You click on that, that'll drop you into, you know, more detailed information about that particular screen. It'll let you off to the left. You can see we've got different data. You can sort this thing out, sort it by different project managers. This is probably a bad example because I'm filtering in on a job. If I kill this filter out of here, I would you'll see different information. But you can go in, you can drill into transaction levels from the screen, etc. So that's a nice feature. If we go back to this role and we do a drill, we do an analyze from here, you'll see how that looks a little bit different. So you can see it by job, but let's say I want to sort it out by project manager. Now I can see those same type of numbers summarized for all the jobs within a project manager, for example, type of thing. So you can see that as well. So you got a lot of available information on jobs that people can take a look at. One of the other dashboards we have is the financial information. So again, similar look and feel. This is something like a CFO or a controller may want to look at. You can see, you know, where your cash position is, where your bank balances are, your receivable information. Yeah, this is great. We want to see everything over 90 days, but that's just my sample data, so I apologize for that. But you can see now, we can see a little summary of all of our customers. You can, again, hit the plus sign and drill down into all the detailed invoices that are open and the aging. If that's just too small for you, again, hit the Analyze button up here at the top right, and now you open this up in a little bigger window where you can see all the data. So very nice. Go back to that main dashboard. Again, you've got your top customers, accounts payable information. Again, you know, we're looking at receivables, payables information. We don't pay bills any better when we collect, obviously. Your top customers, retainage, AR. So you see a lot of good information about your vendors and customers as well from a finance side. The last one that we have available is the executive dashboard. This is one we created, again, primarily for the, you know, top level management, the organization that really just wants to get a good pulse of what's the company look like. So we've got the typical kind of accounting ratios a lot of CPAs will have you look at and analyze by, again, same dashboard widget, if you will, about the cash position and bank balances and AR. So again, just a real brief dashboard where they can kind of do a quick look at what's going on with the organization. Just so you got to feel what these things look like. And then I mentioned earlier, we have the service management. If you're using the service management module, then we can go look at, you know, what where your service work order or tickets are laid out. Again, you can see them right here. You can look at where they're at, what's still open work orders by status, what's been completed, etc. See what we have out there, and then again, you can look all work orders out there. So you can kind of get an idea what's going on. Again, you got your customers and the sites out here. So you've got a lot of good information, again, available to you without having to go in and crack open Sage 300 or Sage 100. So that was just a real quick flyover. What I want to do is kind of just open up for some questions and see if anybody has any thoughts, ideas, questions about what Aktion Analytics can do for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Okay, first one I see is asking about sharing reports with different people.
Absolutely. Yeah, and absolutely. And what we can do is this is a named user-based system, like most softwares nowadays, particularly that are cloud-based. But there's different levels of users. We've got designer users, those who can actually design these dashboards, and you have to have at least one of those. But we also have view only. So again, you can set up as users in the view only world, tell them allow them what dashboards they can or cannot see. And then they won't be able to do any customizations, but they'll be able to look and see the data. And again, there's full security that you can decide, you can determine, what users can see what. So again, like I mentioned earlier, project managers, we set the security up tied back to Sage 300 or 100 that they see only their jobs.
Okay. The next question I see is asking about the frequency of data being updated.
Oh, good question. This does do a sync with your existing Sage 300 data. It does basically do the, it creates data cubes in a separate database. So it doesn't pull all of the data. It only pulls the data we need for these dash parts or these components. That's done. Typically, folks are doing it on a once a day basis. That can be scheduled as frequently as you want. So that could be multiple times a day. Plus you have the option of going in and doing it on demand. So synchronization, depending on the size of your data, might take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. We've got one large customer using the tool set now. It takes them about 15 minutes and they have a pretty large database.
All right, that kind of goes right into the next question, which is asking about storage limitations and how much history can be referenced.
That the software, when we first provision it, we'll provision with 30 gigabytes of storage, which so far for all of our customers has been adequate. Again, if you need to go over that, there's an additional charge of $10 per gig per month. So it's not a huge charge for additional storage. And then how much history you want to provide, that's totally up to you. When we work with you on configuring the synchronization tool, you can determine how far back you want. So you can, there's some reasonable limits. So, do you really want 20 years of the data available? Most people don't. 2 or 3 years is reasonable. And that most of the time that fits within the storage limitations not limitations, but the storage guidelines that we have.
All right. Okay. The next question I see, Steve, is asking about implementation, installation, and how long that takes and what that looks like.
Okay, good. No, that implementation is fairly quick. We get the software will get provisioned. It runs in the cloud, so it doesn't run on your servers, or if you're hosted in our data center, basically we'll do all that connection for you. That takes about 3 to 4 days to get that provisioned. Then there's about a half a day of time just to kind of configure the synchronization tool. As you can imagine, everybody's job format, cost code formats, vendor formats, all those those variables that we have when we set the system up initially in a 300 world particularly. Those are different for every customer. So the synchronization tool and maybe some of the dashboards might need to be tweaked just a little bit, adjusted to facilitate how your data is structured. But again, no more. That's usually about a half a day. And then so within usually about a week or so, 10 days at the most, we can typically get you up and running using the tool.
Awesome. Okay. I had a couple people ask about just verifying if it's for Sage 300 specifically, or if it is also for 100 users.
It is for we do have the same similar set of dashboards for Sage 100. I'm showing you the one that's connected to my Sage 300, but we do have it available for Sage 100.
All right. Then the next question I have is, can it pull from other sources such as Procore?
It can. That's one of the beauties of the tool. We've got it configured right now just to pull from either Sage 100 or 300. But if you are using something like a Procore or Salesforce or any other external database, we do have the ability to connect to that. We can help you with that. We can do that for you, or we can show you how to do it, whichever. So you can show data in here that comes from multiple sources. A lot of times there's just, there's some data mapping, configuring those data cubes coming from those external sources. But the answer is yes, we can do that.
All right, that was the last one for now. Feel free to type those in, everyone, if you have any other questions you'd like to have Steve answer about Aktion Analytics.
Absolutely. So while we're seeing if there's any other questions, just to let everybody know this, like I say, I was showing this with Sage 300. We do have it connected to Sage 100 again. Not exactly the same dashboards, but pretty much similar. As you can imagine, the two systems are somewhat different from a data structure standpoint, but we do have it for Sage 100 as well. We're also continuing to evolve this product. So, as new dashboards and things are come available, we let people know. And then you can also, we'll either teach you if you've got the skill set on staff, or we can work with you to customize these or tailor these to your specific needs. Some people may want to see things slightly different, as you can imagine, particularly if you're a Sage 300 user. You might have some custom fields sitting out on your job records or things like that that are useful for sorting, displaying, and you want to look at your data a different way. So we can definitely work with you on creating some, very, very specific dash parts and dash components. I've got these things built in kind of a, here's what we deliver out of the box. And some people don't need to see all this. They'll start like, I just don't even want to have that dashboard available. It's real easy. Just go in, click, remove it from your default screen, and it's done. The dash part is still available. So if you want to actually move it to a different screen, create a little different dashboards with different content for different types of folks, roles, that's fairly easy to do.
Okay, I had another question come in, Steve. Can you combine databases and bring them together like Procore and Sage 100?
Yes, you can. You certainly can.
Awesome. That was the last of them that I see.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I see. No more questions, but good
All
ones,
right.
guys. Thank you.
No problem. That's actually great. Thanks, folks. Let's see. So just kind of go back to the main screen here. If you've got any other questions you have, my contact is on the screen. Feel free to shoot me an email, or if you want to call the 800 number there, that'll get you into our marketing team. You can get a call with them, and we'll get you connected with your sales rep, or if you don't know who that is, we'll definitely get that connection made for you, and you can dig into this a little bit deeper. They can share with you pricing structures and things like I say, it varies, different price structure for Sage 300 and 100. Basically you've got a designer user, at least one of those, and then view only users. So again, how many people in your organization do you need want access, and what dashboards do you want to have? So we've got a standard set, then we've got some optional sets available for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Steve, and thank you all for joining us today. Awesome presentation, great questions. Like I mentioned earlier, I will be distributing the recording to you each in an email here in a little bit, so you'll get that, and then I'll connect you with an Aktion representative to discuss further. So again, thank you. Any closing words, Steve?
Nope. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Let us know if there's any other questions you have.
All right, awesome. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your day.